Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come in and do a really quick intro. This is on a completely different day, but I wanted to kind of let you know what we're going to do this week for my second foundation week. So this one's going to be a little bit different. I am going to be actually reviewing foundations this week, and they are all foundations that I have no intentions of buying the full size of, which I know sounds silly, but they are foundations that are newer. They're not brand new. Some of these have been out for probably like 5 months, but y'all have asked me over and over again to review these foundations, and I knew from the beginning that I was not going to buy them because they either have alcohol or fragrance, and that's just a personal decision of mine from this point forward to steer clear of ones that have one, the other, or both. I will make an exception sometimes when alcohol is the only thing, there is no fragrance and it's super low on the list. But as a whole, I try to steer clear. And so I just went and got samples at a Sephora of all these foundations. And every day this week, I'm going to take you through a review of each one of them and tell you what I think so that I can give you what y'all want in doing the reviews for the foundations, and I can stick to my guns and not buy them full size. So hopefully you enjoy this foundation week. Today we're going to start out with day one, which is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. So if you would like to know how that works for me, then just keep on watching. Okay, so let's just get into day one. Today we are going to be talking about the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. So, as I said in the intro, I only have samples of all of these, but this was the deluxe sample that came with like a $25 or $35 purchase at Sephora, so it's a little bit bigger. I will say these shades that they offered, I think they offered like 1N, 2N, 3N, and 4N. They looked much lighter on the website than they actually are. I should have ordered 2N, but I actually, the first time I got it, I got 4N, and I was like, holy cow, that's dark. This is 3N. It's still going to be dark on me. I'm telling you that up front, so no comments necessary, but it's the only one I have to sample that's in any way, shape, or form resembles my skin tone at all. So that's what we're going to be using. I'm going to be priming my face and setting my face with the same primer and same powder every day this week, and I am using the DHC Velvet Skin Coat. I love this primer. It's very heavy in silicone, but I use a pea size, and I just put it right here on my nose and a little bit in my middle of my forehead, so we will still be able to see how the foundation performs otherwise. But I use a primer almost every day, and I think this is a wonderful one that's not going to compromise the actual finish of the foundation. So, the reason that I am not ever planning on buying this in the full size is that the third ingredient is alcohol. I know some people are not bothered by that. I know a lot of people say it evaporates before it hits your skin. Okay, well, here's the thing. Little tiny side note. When I'm working, I don't use 99% alcohol to sanitize my lip pencils and my eye pencils. Why? Because yes, that does evaporate before it can do any type of sanitation. So what's the point? It's like a waste. 70% alcohol does not. It actually sanitizes. It does not evaporate. So my thing is, unless I know the actual percentage of alcohol, which most of the time, unless it says cetearyl alcohol or benzyl alcohol, if it just says alcohol, it's likely denatured alcohol. And if I don't know the actual percentage, I'm going to assume it's something 70% or lower, which means that it's not going to evaporate before it gets my skin. That's just my thoughts. I know everybody else is going to have different ones. I'm telling you why I'm not buying it, and that is why. Also, there is fragrance. It is the 17th ingredient out of a 29 ingredient foundation. So it's a little bit lower on the list, but it's fragrance nonetheless. And I don't need my makeup to smell good. I just don't. I don't. And there are too many nasty ingredients that can be umbrellaed under the word fragrance by federal law. So I'm trying. I'm not saying I don't have any foundations in my collection that have fragrance in them. I'm saying I'm trying to not purchase any from now on and for the past like 6 months that do. So those are two of the main reasons. I also want to point out that this foundation does have bismuth oxychloride, which is not a bad ingredient. It's actually found in Bare Minerals and a lot of other mineral makeup, but it is an ingredient that can cause irritation to a lot of people, and it's a reason that a lot of people can't wear Bare Minerals. It makes their face itch, and other powdered mineral makeup. So just be aware that that is in this foundation as well. All right, so let's go ahead and stop talking. I don't want this to be a forever long video. I'm going to apply it while I'm talking about it. I'm going to be using a brush, and this comes with a little paddle. The original packaging is kind of like a squeeze bottle, similar to MAC Face and Body, which if you don't know is a very favorite of mine. The difference between those two is that this one claims to have a matte finish, while the Face and Body, oh my, this is dark, is a natural / dewy finish. So this comes in 40 colors, so kudos to Dior for that. I'm not mad about the shade range, except that I just got the wrong shade. It is $40, but it is, I believe it's 1.6 ounces. I could not find it on the Sephora website, but I think I remember that from some other reviews. So you are getting more product for, you know, $40, which to me for Dior is not bad. There are some, most of them are pretty good reviews, but there are some reviews saying it doesn't have hardly any coverage. So I'm having to use more, so there's really no point in it being, you know, it kind of evens out. It's really not more product. I don't technically prefer a matte foundation. I would like for it to look, if anything, demi-matte or semi-matte, whatever the word is. Not completely flat and matte. So we're going to see if that's how this works on my skin. I have not used a lot. I know it looks like I'm going back and forth, but there's not that much product on this little paddle. And I put one amount of paddle on this, one amount of paddle on this, one amount of paddle on this. I would say it would roughly be like, it's hard to quantify with a squeeze tube. I have to bring this down, y'all, because it's so dark. But I would probably say like 4 drops, maybe. So it's blending very easily with a brush. I do prefer a brush with foundations like this, or my fingers. I prefer fingers with MAC Face and Body, but most serum like water-based foundations, I do prefer a brush so that the sponge does not soak it all up, and that's the case for this as well. I will also say that while this is technically water-based, water is the second ingredient next to cyclopentasiloxane. I've got something in my eye, which is the first ingredient. The third ingredient is alcohol, and then it does have, I want to say like 4 to 5 different dimethicones after that. So even though it is water-based to begin with, I didn't turn my air off, sorry if you can hear that. It also does have dimethicone in it, so I don't want anybody who's sensitive to dimethicone going in thinking, oh, it's water-based, I can use it. Just know that it does have dimethicone. So let's zoom in. Now, because of my skincare, I'm a little bit luminous before I go in with any kind of makeup. I don't think that this is a super flat matte, so I'm not mad about the finish. I think it can be manipulated. In fact, I know it can. I have used luminous primers underneath it, and it's fine. I do find that I get a little patchy when I apply it. I have to go back and really make sure everything's blended in. Most other foundation, well no, all other foundations that I use on a regular basis with this brush, I never have an issue with. So I just have to be really careful about that. But otherwise, I would say it's light to medium coverage. I still see my redness right here, and I still see a little bit over here. I feel like my pores are a little visible, like I feel like it kind of sits on them more so than some of my other foundations, but we will see how that goes throughout the day. But upon first application, this is the makeup. I'm going to finish my makeup, come back very quickly, and do a final check-in at the end of the day. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so we have finished the makeup. I have finished the makeup. Why in the world do I keep saying we? I don't know, but y'all know what I mean. No one helped me. Get these lights right to save my life. All right, so everything for the most part went fine over this. The only issue that I had is I've been using a large duo fiber brush lately for my bronzer, and I felt like it kind of streaked the product a little bit. This does claim to be sweat proof, you know, water resistant, transfer proof, but I felt like it kind of transferred onto the brush a little bit much where I had to go back in and blend it. So it's definitely transferred onto my phone. So we shall see, because it's even been set. So my day consists of, I have a makeup lesson coming to my house in about an hour. I'm going to the gym, and then I have about 8 girls coming over for a play date when my girls get home from school, which is another workout in of itself. So this foundation will be put to the test, and I'm going to come back and show you how it works throughout the day. Color, I need to bronze up more right here. Do you see this like white streak right here? Yeah, okay. This foundation's way too dark for me, but I'm doing it for the review. So I'll be back later on to show you how it fared throughout the day. All right, we're back for the final check-in. It is 9:30 at night. I have already taken my shower. Obviously, I didn't wash my hair. I'm like in my pajamas. Okay, I'm ready for bed. But I wanted to wear this as long as I possibly could without wanting to scratch it off my face so I could give you a full review. So I've had this on for about 12 and a half hours. Like I said earlier, I did work out in it. It was the standard Tennessee 100% humidity today with 90-something degree weather, you know, so it really was put to the test to its sweat resistant waterproof claims. I believe that I said at the very beginning, or for y'all just a second ago, that it said it was transfer proof. I must have taken the waterproof and kind of made that up myself, because when I went back to look at the claims, I did not see transfer proof, because I will say that I don't think this is. I brought home, this is like, look, I'm saving my dirty paper towels for y'all. That's how much I love y'all. This is the paper towel I used to blot my face off after I worked out. And so you can see there is a good bit of product right there. It did not affect the way it looked on my face. But again, I have foundations that don't do that when I sweat, so just keep that in mind. It will come off on phones and paper towels and shirts if you hug people. But as far as the sweat resistant, I did think it held up really well in the gym. I don't personally think that this is matte. I feel like, honestly, it was more of a satin, and now that could be just the skincare that I use. I'm sure if I, didn't use the moisturizers that I do or the SPFs that I do, that I would have had more of a matte finish, but I do think it's more on the natural matte at the very least, so it's not going to be a super flat foundation, which is a huge plus in my book. And I will say overall, I really do like this foundation. I do not like it enough to buy it because of the alcohol and the fragrance. But if you are someone who doesn't mind that, because I never want to come off as better than anyone else because I don't like alcohol and fragrances in my products. I mean, I'm human. Like I said, I have some that have that in it. And I don't care if you like it. It's not my skin, I'm just telling you what I prefer for me. So if you don't have an aversion to alcohol or a sensitivity, because I know a lot of people do, if you don't have it to bismuth, oxychloride, or to fragrance, and you don't mind those being in your foundations, I think this is an excellent choice. After 12 and a half hours, this is the extent of my smile lines. So I could technically buff that out if I wanted to. But other than that, I have not powdered, I have not touched up, nothing. And I feel like the coverage is pretty much the same. There are a couple of splotchy parts up here on my forehead, which I kind of felt like as I was blending it out that was going to be the case, because I had mentioned it just blended out a little patchy for me. Yeah, so you can see right there, it's kind of come off. But I mean, it's 12 and a half hours and I did work out, so take that into consideration. But I've had foundations do way worse than that, so that's not enough for me to give it a huge dressing down. And I will say I just went like that to kind of buff out, and a little bit of the foundation came off of there. So I'm thinking it has met its life expectancy for one face and one day, and has just decided to kind of wear off. It has worn off just a tad bit on my chin, but other than that, it's held up really well. I've seen some reviews say that no matter how much you put on your face, it's never going to look like makeup. I don't believe that, because I still feel like it somewhat looks like makeup on my skin. I have much more skin like foundations, MAC Face and Body being one of them. While they are different in finish, I do find that that one lasts a lot longer on my skin personally. This also claims that it's for every single skin type out there. Obviously, it's going to lean more towards one skin type than the other. And because of its longevity, I would say normal to combo to oily skin. Because of the high alcohol content, I think if you have super dry skin, it might be a little too drying on you. And if you have mature skin and you don't have like mature super dry skin, I would give this a try as a sample. Again, if you don't mind the alcohol and fragrance, because it does not settle into lines. So it's all a personal preference on ingredients. Obviously, it's why I'm not gonna buy the full size, but if you have been wondering my thoughts or if you should buy this, I do like how it has performed for me over the few days that I have worn it. I don't like it enough to even really be sad that I'm not gonna buy the full size, because I'm looking at my foundations right now and I know right off the bat, the Ilia foundation looks even more like skin than this, lasts just as long on me, doesn't settle into fine lines, and is good for you. So that right there is like, it just doesn't make sense for me to go buy it, but I know some people, the Ilia foundation didn't work for them. So obviously you get my drift. So I will be back tomorrow with another foundation review. So be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future content if you are interested in seeing those reviews. And as always, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.